This is the question review for All Together Now Selection Test A. So what you'll need to do is you'll need to watch the video, I'll go over the answers, then you'll need to make corrections on your paper, and then you'll get some points back from your test. So if you did All Together Now, we'll run through these. So number one, according to All Together Now, who does Barbara Jordan think should work on race relations? Elected officials, children, parents, or Bosnians. They were all mentioned in the story, but it was the parents that she called out for working on race relations because they need to teach their children about race relations. So what I need from you is I need a sentence explaining that, and I also need you to write down the page number and the paragraph where it discusses that. So I know you're going in and doing your job too and finding that answer out, and I'm not just telling you on video and you're just writing it down. Well, I want you to kind of read it and understand it too. I want you to do that for all of the questions. Number two, how does Barbara Jordan appeal to authority and All Together Now? If you remember, we talked about appealing to authority, emotion, or reason, and we said that appealing to authority means that you go to like a higher power. You know, what is someone maybe above you, usually like with a job or just higher placement than you, what have they done? In this case, we were talking about elected officials, and so she mentions Martin Luther King Jr. and former President Lyndon Johnson. Those were people of power, people of authority, who made some decisions in race relations and tried to make things better. Number three, then, in All Together Now, why does Barbara Jordan mention the conflict in Bosnia? What was the point to that? It's because it showed that people of different ethnic backgrounds are not getting along. She'd mentioned that what had happened in Bosnia, and I remember that was right at the top of one of the pages there in your story. So again, page number, paragraph number, and where that information's at. And I think Bosnia even had a footnote on the bottom. You could mention that. Number four, according to All Together Now, what might happen if we do not pay attention to civil rights? Back to Bosnia, we might end up like Bosnia. Just take it right out of the textbook there. Number five, how can you tell that this statement from All Together Now is an opinion? I must be willing to accept people who don't look as I do and don't talk as I do. Now that answer is C, is because it cannot be proved true. That's actually fine if you don't reference a page number or paragraph number, because it would be hard to do. So you just say, no, it's an opinion because it cannot prove to be true. That's all you need to do with that. Number six, according to Barbara Jordan in All Together Now, why should we put our faith in young people? Again, going to need to go ahead and tell me where that information is in the story, but that answer was B, they are born without prejudice. Number seven, how can you tell that this statement from All Together Now is an appeal to emotion? You won't really have to explain this one too much because, appealing to emotion means you're appealing to people's emotions, basically. One thing is clear to me, we as human beings must be willing to accept people who are different from ourselves. That answer is C then. It conveys strong feelings, and that's emotional. It conveys strong feelings. Let me make sure I highlight that. It's definitely C. Okay, there we go. Number eight, why does Barbara Jordan care about other people? Why does she care about other people? That answer is C. They are fellow human beings, and you'll see where she talks about that. Number nine, what does Jordan want to persuade her readers to do in All Together Now? What is her final persuasion? What does she want people to do? That she wants them to work to improve human relationships. Number 10, what can you tell about Barbara Jordan from reading All Together Now? In other words, you're making kind of an inference. And so what I want you to do, she was thoughtful and caring. What I want you to do on this answer is I want you to give me an example of how she was thoughtful and caring. So I'm giving you the character trait, I'm giving you the answer, she's thoughtful and caring. I want you to give me some textual evidence where she was thoughtful and where she was caring. Now for the vocabulary and grammar, I'm gonna give you the answers, but I want you to do is I want you to explain like this first one's about legislation. We have the legislation we need. Okay, what does that mean? And it means we have the laws we need. I want you to explain why that's the answer that it is. And you should know if you go into your vocabulary from the story with legislation, that should help you find that. Number 12, which statement about All Together Now shows that Jordan was an optimist? Again, you'll have to explain to me what an optimist is. And then, you'll go ahead and tell me that it's D. Jordan believes that it's possible for everyone to work on getting along. Make sure you tell me what an optimist is. 13, what part of this sentence do the underlined words represent? Some people miss this because they didn't realize I is not underlined there. It's have yet to find a racist baby. The answer was complete predicate. In your version, it only says predicate. That is still the answer, okay, because it's the predicate. That's still the answer. So maybe tell me what that means by predicate. Really, it should say complete predicate, because that's what it is, the complete predicate. That's in your book, the little grammar section after All Together Now and Eternal Frontier. It talks about simple and complete subjects, simple and complete predicates. So you need to explain to me what complete predicate means. Okay? And then finally, number 14, what part of this sentence does the underlined word represent? The movement culminated in 1963 with the March on Washington. That is, the movement is the simple subject. And again, explain what that means by simple subject. Okay? Now, for the essays, if you don't have, and you'll see on your paper if it says like 3 out of 5 or -1 or 4 out of 5, that means you didn't get all 5 points for the essay. So look at your answer and then go back, whichever one you answered. You probably didn't get all the points because you probably didn't answer all the questions, or maybe you didn't give a detail or you didn't explain your answer. Go back and you should be able to figure out why you didn't get all the points that you needed for that, and you can go ahead and correct that too to get those points. Okay, and that's the review. I'll probably ask again next week to make sure that gets turned in and you can get the points back for that quiz and get that in your gradebook.